Welcome to Stamps Old World UK, the home of rare finds, forgotten treasures, and fascinating insights into the world of vintage postage stamps. Today's episode is not just another video, it's a deep and richly detailed journey through time, paper, and value. We are going to explore how the market for old stamps stands in today's world, and specifically how stamps like the legendary green 1-cent George Washington stamp are being appraised and traded in 2025. For collectors, investors, and history lovers alike, this is your complete guide to understanding the hidden financial and historical value that could be sitting inside your drawer, tucked away in an album, or even hidden in an old family envelope. Let's begin with the iconic US green 1-cent George Washington stamp. This classic piece of philatelic history was first introduced as part of the Washington Franklin issues between 1908 and 1922. It features the distinguished side profile of George Washington, framed by olive branches and printed in several shades of green depending on the specific print run. While this stamp originally had a face value of just 1 cent, today its value can range dramatically, with some common used examples still trading for under $1, but rare varieties, especially those with coil edges, misprints, or specific catalog numbers, selling for thousands of dollars. For example, the Scott No. 596, often called one of the rarest of the 1-cent green types, has fetched prices as high as $15,000 to $20,000 depending on condition, centering, and certification. But what truly determines the value of a stamp in today's market? Many viewers often ask, is age the only thing that matters? The answer is no. While age plays a role, it is only one part of a complex equation. The stamp's condition, rarity, design variations, printing method, centering, and whether it's mint or used all contribute to its market worth. A stamp that is well-centered, has no creases or tears, possesses original gum that is undisturbed, and is completely unused, is considered mint condition and often demands a high premium. Collectors pay particular attention to perforation patterns, color shades, and cancellation marks, all of which can increase or decrease the value drastically. For instance, a stamp with a misaligned perforation that cuts into the design might be worth far less. However, a genuine printing error, like an inverted image or a color misprint, can fetch thousands of dollars and become a prized possession. In 2025, the stamp collecting world is seeing a steady rise in both interest and market value. Many collectors who began as hobbyists have started viewing stamps as long-term investments. Just like gold, art, and rare coins, stamps are tangible assets with historical significance and limited availability. Online platforms such as eBay, Delcamp, Hipstamp, and specialized auction houses like Spink and Heritage Auctions have made it easier than ever to buy, sell, and evaluate stamps. As a result, demand for high-quality, authenticated items has increased. In recent months, a perfectly preserved block of 4 green 1-cent Washington stamps with full gum and excellent centering was auctioned for over $7,000, and an extremely rare imperforate version sold for nearly $14,000. These are not just sales, they are signs of a thriving collector's economy where the past meets modern value. Another factor shaping the stamp market in today's world is technology. With the growth of high-resolution scanners and image recognition software, collectors are now able to authenticate, compare, and catalog stamps with incredible accuracy. Apps and online tools help identify catalog numbers, plate flaws, watermarks, and errors. This has helped eliminate fakes and improve transparency in pricing. More collectors, especially younger ones, are entering the field with confidence because of these tools. The stamp market, once seen as an older generation's pursuit, is now attracting tech-savvy hobbyists and investors under 40 who are building digital collections and investing in physical stock. These trends are lifting market prices and giving even common stamps renewed attention. Let's zoom back in on the 1-cent green Washington stamp. There are multiple varieties, each with different printing characteristics. Some have flat plate printing, others have rotary press printing, and a few are coil stamps designed to be dispensed by machines. Each has its own catalog number and value range. For example, Scott No. 544, a rare coil waste stamp, has sold for over $8,000 in certified condition, while a typical Scott No. 498, a more common flat plate version, might sell for just $1 to $3 if used and $10 to $50 if mint. But here's where it gets exciting. There are still unlisted or misidentified stamps sitting in people's collections that could be extremely valuable. Many people do not realize they own a rare coil or rotary press issue and mistake it for the common type. That's why we always recommend checking perforation counts, design height, and watermark details or getting your stamp professionally graded. The demand for historical stamps continues to be strong in both the US and the UK. British collectors, in particular, hold a fascination with American Revolutionary history and the founders of the United States, which makes stamps featuring George Washington, Benjamin Franklin, and other historical figures highly collectible abroad. If you live in the UK and are watching this video, we strongly encourage you to go through your inherited collections or auction purchases and look for classic US stamps from the early 20th century. Even a single green 1-cent stamp in mint condition could bring you unexpected profit, especially if it's a rare variant. And if you have a block, a pair, or an envelope with a readable postmark, the value could increase significantly due to the added postal history context. As of today in 2025, the general stamp market for rare US stamps is solid. Stamps that were once priced at $20 to $30 are now pushing $50 to $80, and higher-end collectibles are growing even faster. The inflation of the US dollar has made collectibles more attractive to international buyers, and collectors are turning to physical, historical assets as stores of value. Even stamp-themed NFTs and digital collectibles are being launched, though the traditional physical stamp remains far more trusted and valued. If you've been sitting on an old box of stamps or albums that belong to your grandparents, now is the time to act. With prices climbing and interest rising, your old collection could become a profitable asset. To wrap up this in-depth video, we want to leave you with one strong message: stamp collecting is more alive than ever. What was once a quiet, personal hobby is now becoming a vibrant global marketplace. From rare George Washington stamps in green to British colonial issues and European war-era postage, the world of stamps is full of hidden value. Whether you're looking to sell, collect, or simply learn, the best time to explore your stamps is now. And here at Stamps Old World UK, we're dedicated to helping you every step of the way. We cover the history, the variations, the market trends, and the exciting stories that make stamp collecting more than just a hobby. It's a journey through time. Next up, the most iconic and widely collected designs featuring George Washington. These two stamps, one from the early 1900s Washington Franklin series and the other from the mid-20th century Liberty issue, represent two completely different eras in American postal history. And although both bear the simple denomination of 1 cent, their values today in the stamp market vary significantly, and in some cases, they can surprise even the most seasoned collectors. Whether you are a beginner, a lifelong philatelist, or simply someone who stumbled upon an old stamp album in your attic, this video will give you the in-depth knowledge you need to understand just how much these historic stamps can be worth in today's market. Let's begin with the second stamp you see on screen, a beautifully detailed 1-cent green stamp from the Liberty issue series, which was printed and circulated between 1954 and the early 1960s. Unlike the earlier Washington Franklin series, this version of the George Washington stamp features a more modern and lifelike portrait of Washington, looking directly at the viewer with a solemn yet confident expression. The background is horizontally lined, giving it a textured, almost engraved feel. This stamp was part of a broader set of definitive stamps issued to replace the older Prexy series, and it was used widely for mailing lightweight items and postcards during the Cold War era. While millions were printed, making the basic used version quite common, condition, print errors, and plate variations can significantly increase its value. In 2025, a standard used version of this 1-cent Liberty issue George Washington stamp generally sells for about 10 to 50 cents if found in circulated condition. However, a mint never hinged copy, especially with centering graded very fine or better, can be worth $1 to $5, depending on demand. If you're lucky enough to find a full pane of these stamps, or a first-day cover, FDC, postmarked from 1954 with a clean cachet and clear cancellation, then its value can jump to $10 to $50 or more, especially among cover collectors. And if you happen to uncover a rare misprint, color error, or perforation shift, then the value could leap into the hundreds of dollars, especially if professionally certified by organizations such as the Philatelic Foundation or the American Philatelic Society. Now let's go back to the earlier green 1-cent Washington Franklin stamp, a classic from the early 1900s. As mentioned in our previous segment, this stamp is a true gem in the philatelic world. Unlike the Liberty issue, the Washington Franklin stamps were printed in a wide variety of formats: flat plate, rotary press, coil, imperforate, and even with experimental gum and ink types. This makes identifying the exact type quite challenging but also highly rewarding for the serious collector. Some versions of this stamp, such as the Scott No. 544 or No. 596, are among the rarest U.S. stamps in existence and have sold for more than $10,000 to $20,000 at auction. Even common variants can fetch $2 to $100 depending on condition, gum presence, and centering. What's especially exciting is that many people do not realize the small differences that separate a common 1-cent Washington stamp from a rare and valuable one. For example, the height of the design, the direction of the paper grain, the type of watermark, and the perforation count can all help determine whether you own a $1 stamp or a $15,000 rarity. In today's digital age, collectors are using magnification tools, online reference databases, and mobile apps to help analyze and grade their stamps more accurately. And with more online sales taking place across platforms like eBay, Delcamp, and Hipstamp, sellers are often surprised to discover they've had valuable stamps hiding in plain sight for decades. Let's take a step back and look at the overall stamp market in 2025. As more collectors return to tangible hobbies and historical memorabilia, the demand for vintage and rare stamps has been on the rise. Economic uncertainty has driven some people to invest in collectibles like stamps and coins, viewing them as long-term stores of value. As a result, even mid-range stamps are increasing in price. For instance, stamps that were selling for $3 to $5 just 5 years ago are now moving for $10 to $15, while premium certified examples are hitting new highs at auction. Postal history items, such as first-day covers, wartime correspondence, and era prints, are particularly sought after for their rarity and historical value. This trend has brought renewed attention to stamps like the George Washington issues, both from the early 1900s and the 1950s, as collectors and investors look for pieces of Americana that are both meaningful and valuable. For those of you watching from the UK and other international locations, US stamps like the ones we discussed today are increasingly popular among global collectors. The historical appeal of George Washington, the artistry of American engraving, and the wide variety of US definitive issues make them a cornerstone of any international stamp collection. British collectors especially value these stamps for their ties to American independence and their evolving design elements. If you have any old envelopes, albums, or inherited boxes of stamps, we highly encourage you to take a closer look. You never know, a single 1-cent stamp might turn out to be a rare variety, a first-day issue, or a plate number block worth far more than you ever imagined. In conclusion, the humble 1-cent George Washington stamp, whether from the early Washington Franklin series or the mid-century Liberty issue, is far more than a tiny piece of paper. It's a window into American history, a tribute to a founding father, and a potential hidden treasure. In today's collector's market, prices for these stamps range from pennies to thousands of dollars, depending entirely on condition, rarity, and demand. Whether you're holding a used stamp with a clean postmark or a pristine mint sheet with plate numbers intact, every detail matters. So examine your collection carefully, do your research, and consider consulting a professional philatelic expert for appraisals. Next up, the green 1-cent Benjamin Franklin postage stamp. At first glance, this stamp may appear simple, printed in green with an oval portrait of Franklin, surrounded by laurel leaves, and the words, U.S. Postage, and 1 cent boldly displayed. But beneath that humble exterior lies a world of history, value, and collecting mystery that has captivated philatelists for over a century. Today, in 2025, we take a deep dive into this stamp's origins, its various printings, and its current market value in dollars, because yes, even a 1-cent stamp can be worth thousands. The 1-cent Benjamin Franklin green stamp is part of the Washington Franklin series, which ran from 1908 to 1922 and is known as one of the most complex and extensive stamp series in U.S. postal history. This specific stamp featuring Benjamin Franklin was actually the first stamp in the series, and it holds the distinction of being part of one of the most studied issues by collectors. It comes in a range of varieties, flat plate printings, rotary press printings, coil stamps, imperforate versions, and more. Every small detail, from the size of the design to the shape of the perforations, can dramatically affect the catalog number, rarity, and price of the stamp. Franklin was honored on this stamp not only for his political achievements but also because he was the first Postmaster General of the United States. His connection to postal history makes this stamp a cherished item across collections worldwide. When it comes to value in today's stamp market, the 1-cent Franklin stamp can be deceiving. A basic used version, commonly collected by beginners, might only be worth around $1 to $3 depending on condition and cancellation. But this is only scratching the surface. Certain rarer types, such as those with perf 12 by 10, rotary press printings with specific design sizes, or coil waste varieties, can be worth far more. A properly identified Scott number 594 or number 596, both of which were rotary press printings on flat plate paper, are among the rarest U.S. stamps ever made. In recent years, authenticated examples of Scott number 596 have sold for over $15,000, and examples of Scott number 594 have reached $20,000 to $35,000 depending on condition. Yes, you heard that right, a 1-cent stamp that could be worth tens of thousands of dollars. What makes identifying valuable varieties of this stamp so complex is that so many small print variations exist, and most of them look identical to the untrained eye. For example, the difference between a Scott number 331 and a Scott number 594 is almost impossible to spot without precise measurements and sometimes even expert certification. Factors like design height, paper type, and gum texture come into play. In today's market, collectors are using high-powered magnifiers, perforation gauges, and ultraviolet lights to determine these details. More serious collectors send their stamps to professional grading companies like Professional Stamp Experts, PSE, or the Philatelic Foundation to verify authenticity and grade quality. A mint-condition stamp with original gum and exceptional centering, especially if graded XF, extremely fine, or higher, can fetch thousands, even among the more common catalog types. The general stamp market in 2025 continues to thrive, and stamps like this one are in demand more than ever. With new collectors entering the hobby, both young and old, and with online platforms making stamps more accessible, the value of historical American stamps is climbing steadily. Auctions continue to play a key role in determining price trends. In the past few years, we've seen live and online auctions selling Franklin 1-cent stamp plate blocks, coil pairs, and era varieties for record-breaking amounts. There's also a growing demand for postal history items, such as envelopes or postcards bearing this stamp with clear and interesting postmarks. These collectible covers often sell for $20 to $150 or more, especially when associated with early 20th century events or destinations. It's important for collectors to understand that the 1-cent Franklin stamp isn't just about age, it's about rarity, authenticity, condition, and presentation. A perfectly centered example with strong perforations and rich green color will always be more desirable than a heavily canceled, off-center version with fading. Collectors today are much more informed, and they expect detail, provenance, and grading to back up high price tags. This is why it's critical to study your stamp closely, learn how to use a watermark detector or a perf gauge, and familiarize yourself with the Scott catalog numbers for the Washington Franklin series. If you believe you have a rarer type, it's worth having it evaluated by a professional. It could change everything. For those of you watching from the UK or other parts of Europe, the 1-cent Benjamin Franklin stamp is a popular addition to international collections. It represents the early history of American independence, innovation, and postal development. European collectors often value U.S. stamps not only for their design but also for their historical connection to figures like Franklin and Washington. If you inherited any old stamp albums from your parents or grandparents, especially albums with U.S. stamps from 1900 to 1925, you might be sitting on a small fortune without even realizing it. Don't assume a 1-cent stamp is worthless, it might be one of the rarest varieties ever printed. As we wrap up today's extended video, let's remember that stamp collecting is not just about value, it's about the stories, the history, and the connection to the past. The 1-cent Benjamin Franklin stamp is more than just a tiny piece of paper, it's a reflection of innovation, leadership, and the birth of a nation. Its market value today can range from just a few dollars to over $30,000, depending on the type and condition. And here at Stamps Old World UK, we're committed to helping you identify, value, and appreciate the hidden gems in your own collection. Whether you're holding a rare coil stamp, a beautifully centered block, or a dusty old envelope with a forgotten Franklin issue, it all has meaning, and possibly, monetary value. Thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive into the green 1-cent Benjamin Franklin stamp. If you learned something new today, please like this video, subscribe to Stamps Old World UK, and turn on notifications so you never miss a new upload. We produce content every week covering stamp values, rare issues, market trends, auction results, and historical context to help collectors like you unlock the secrets hidden in your albums. Drop a comment below if you want us to feature a specific stamp, and don't forget to share this video with other collectors. Until next time, happy collecting, and may your next find be the rare one that changes everything.